Sam Kamak is Sharnisha Corley's attorney. He joins me live from Houston as well. Sam, thanks for being with me. You were seated beside Sharnisha during that interview. I want to ask you a couple of questions because technically speaking, this is all very hard to process. Originally, the two officers that performed that search were indicted. And then all of a sudden, there's some new secret evidence and a brand new convening of a grand jury, and they're not indicted, and their original indictments go away. And originally, Sharnisha's charged, and then she's not. What happened here legally?
Well, to be clear, Sharnisha's charges were immediately dismissed once the chief prosecutor that worked under the previous district attorney's office and their administration had reviewed the video and spoke with the officers. She just believed the officers were not credible, and in her own words, she said that when she watched the video that it was shocking and appalling. So they immediately dismissed the cases over a year ago against Miss Corley. But a lawfully convened grand jury indicted the officers because one of the officers also turned state's evidence against the other two officers. Actually, the officers that stuck her fingers inside of Miss Corley at the end is the officer that turned state's evidence against the other two officers. It's undeniable that these officers put their fingers inside of Miss Corley. As a matter of fact, in the internal affairs investigation report, one of the officers had stated that she believed that it was inside. She was certain, in her own words, she was certain that it was inside her vaginal cavity. And basically, a year later, in between, we filed a federal civil lawsuit suing our county. A new administration took over at the district attorney's office. The case was set for trial 3 times, I believe. At the last trial setting in May, the state announced ready. The defense lawyer filed a motion for continuance or requested a continuance. It was continued to August 4th. On August 4th, it was set for trial. The district attorney's office, a representative of the district attorney's office, went and dismissed the case against the cases against Sam, the officers.
That's all very in the weeds and technical for a lot of our viewers. I mean, I'm not even a lawyer, and I'm sort of trying to keep up with the technical that you're talking about, but there is something critical here. There's something called a U.S. Constitution and a Fourth Amendment right, against unlawful search and seizure. And I would say someone going up a hoo-hoo is pretty unlawful in terms of search without a warrant. You can do it. You can get a warrant, and you can ask to have a cavity search like this, but it has to be done in a sterile environment like a hospital. So here's where there's a disconnect here. As I understand it, the officers are saying she was putting up resistance, and they charged her for resisting. But yet, they actually say the words that we deny that we penetrated her without consent. So what was it? Was it a resistance or was it consent if they put their fingers inside of her?
Well, first of all, let me explain something. Miss Corley was pulled over for running a stop sign. Miss Corley gave them consent to search the vehicle. When they searched the vehicle, they didn't find anything. As a matter of fact, on the audio, you can hear the officer telling the passenger, oh, she doesn't want to be searched, but she's going to be searched. If we have to put our hands on her, she's going to be searched. Well, they didn't find anything in the vehicle, so they had 2 choices. One was to arrest her for the traffic stop, or 2, let her go. And in this situation, they didn't let her go. So they didn't suspect that there was marijuana inside of Miss Corley. They just decided to throw Miss Corley to the ground, take her clothes off, strip her naked, and stick their hands inside of her to see if they could find something. They had